exchange your views on the things that are happening in the country. And my Straight Talk family, I want to really, I should, as a matter of fact, pretty early convey sincere condolences to the family of the late Richard Mazakins, a founder of the People's Action Movement, former minister or junior minister in the Ministry of Finance in the PAM NRP government way back in 1995. And Richard has claimed so many names in relation to his really straightforward approach to things. And Richard Keynes performed well in the Ministry of Finance, and I'm sure that he has left his mark there in the Ministry of Finance. And he was always a no-nonsense man. And I was privileged to have discussions with him before he went to the great beyond, and I was happy. They was happy, in fact, that he shared so many views in politics and in relation to government. And I remember he invited me at one time home, and he spoke. He exposed me, I should say, to many of his communications and his commentaries that he wrote in the local journals. And I saw a letter which really touched me in terms of his vision in relation to Liat. And this was something way back in 1972 or somewhere thereabout, 72, when he spoke to this my Straight Talk family.
We took a decision that we will no longer continue to own the shareholdings in the Liat. We gave notice and we surrendered our shares. In other words, we did not take back 1 cent of the initial amount that was paid in to become a shareholder in Liat. That is St. Kitts and Nevis, of course, to become a shareholder in the company known as Liat 1974. And so we exited ourselves from that obligation, and which was a burden for this country. I would want to tell you that we have saved millions of dollars by opting out of that Liat arrangement.
And that was the man, Richard Keynes, a businessman, and really brought his commercial wisdom into politics, and for that period between 1995 and I think it was what am I saying? It's 1980. Forgive me. I'm going ahead of myself here. 1980 to 1995. I can hear out there saying what the hell Patches is talking about. But yes, 1980 until about 1995. He provided his wisdom to the government and made some very important decisions, like that one in relation to divesting in Liat. He saw it some 30 years ahead. Tonight I also want to recognize a poor boy from McKnight, or Irish Town, who's famously known as James Bumpy Davis, because I saw something being circulated on social media about my good friend Bumpy, and I had to make inquiries. You heard the rumors about his going to the great beyond, but I can assure you, I have confirmed that Bumpy is doing well and recovering from an incident, and he is doing well. And I first knew him as Bumpy until several years ago when he introduced himself to me, I should say, as James Davis, Mr. James Davis, as he was called. And when I learned more about James Bumpy Davis, very interesting character he is, the boxer turned tourism ambassador or taxi driver. I was moved by the many stories he told me, and the many stories I heard about him as well, and the stories about how he struggled not only with legal issues as a young man growing up in Irishtown, but with the apparent illness of alcohol as well, or alcohol use, I should say, that at times put his health and safety at risk. And that's what happened to him on the weekend. But I can assure you that Bumpy is not dead as circulated. He is alive. But he has warned us in terms about the possibility of death if we don't do the right thing. Bumpy said this to me.
Yeah, man, talking last night, about a gratuity and different things like this, I want to tell that man something. He have no respect for the country and he have no feeling for the people of the Federation. One reason why I could tell you this is because then the unity government get in power 2015. And since the unity government get in power in 2015, they have doing well. And they do well, so well, that they give back people gratuity, things that Douglas has been taken away, and so forth. The bonuses and different things like that, they give us back that. They give us back the memoriam and different things like this here. And the man do not know the meaning of gratuity. What they call him? Douglas Watley. He is a disrespectful man to this nation, and he coming on the media, and he abusing the country, and he abusing the people of the Federation, and the people of the Federation have to learn to stand up and tell Douglas Watley what they have to say, because then we have a government that could count. We have a government that in place, and we have a prime minister who is a doctor of law, of accountants, and due to the fact of this, I want to congratulate him. I want to congratulate the nurses, the chief of staff of medical, and different things like that. Patriots are asking you all, because I listen to BBC every night, and different things like this here. And the amount of things that I hear going on in America, and England, Germany, Iraq, Iran. Please tell the Prime Minister, do not open the borders. Whatever resources that he leaving half now, let him make it work. Please do not open the borders. Because the day you open the borders, then sink his people gone dead. Good night.
Yes.
James Davis.
Yes, James Davis. We got your advice. And just to inform you that James Bumpy Davis is alive and recovering, and we trust and wish him and pray for a speedy recovery. Bumpy, if you're listening to us, we wish you well. Before I open the lines, I want to touch briefly as well on the Christina disaster, that solemn occasion on Saturday, the 1st of August, 1970, what am I saying? And recall that Saturday the 1st August 2020 would mark exactly 50 years to the date when tragedy struck on that ill-fated day on Saturday the 1st August 1970, when 233 persons, mostly Nigerians, lost their lives on what turned out to be the last voyage of the MV Christina from Basseterre to Charlestown. Approximately 90 persons, we understand, survived. The MV Christina was a 160-foot long vessel owned by the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, owned and operated, I should say, by the government of then St. Christopher Nevis. St. Christopher Nevis, I think Anguilla had seceded by that time, in 1970, and plied between the 11 to 12 mile route between Basseterre and Charlestown since 1968 or 1969 or thereabout. Government up until the 2000s owned and operated the ferry that traversed or sailed to and from Basseterre and Charlestown on a daily basis except on Sunday. I remember as a young boy, I recall seeing scores of people heading in droves onto the Treasury Pier that Saturday afternoon around 2 o'clock in the summer of 1970. Yes, I remember that. It was the Saturday before August Monday, the annual Emancipation Day holiday of 1970. Emancipation Day is observed in many European colonies, or rather former European colonies in the Caribbean and areas of the United States on various dates to commemorate the emancipation of enslaved people of African descent. And I recall there was a swarm of people who rushed onto the pier in their multitude to board the Christina after apparently learning that the trip, that fatal day, was going to be the last one for the day. Captain Pontine, it is reported, upon recognizing that his vessel was overloaded, went to the Ministry of Communications to request permission to make an additional trip that afternoon. His request was denied by the Ministry of Communications or by the Permanent Secretary, then Mr. Jules Cox. And he denied that request for a second trip because the boat was overcrowded. Permanent Secretary Cox ruled that there will be one trip only. Captain Pontin, visibly upset, we are told, with the directive, started the engines, ordered the lines to be taken off the bollards, and started to back the vessel sternwards to begin his trip to Nevis. The daily run on a Saturday was one, when plenty business was done between the islands, and when Captain Pontin realized that he was leaving so many vendors with whom he became familiar, he was leaving them on the pier. He then put his throttle slow ahead to try to get those vendors, his regular customers, on board. Others used the opportunity to jump onto the vessel. It was a calm day. But on entering the rougher seas within the channel between St. Kitts and Nevis, the vessel began to take on water and eventually sank. The passenger capacity of the Christina was 155 persons, but that afternoon, Christina had approximately 320 people on board. Only 91 survived, and the great majority of those were the people that had to be rescued. The Christina disaster was a ferryboat shipwreck with 233 casualties, as I said, and the boat was only built to occupy 125 passengers on the deck, 30 first-class passengers, and 5 tons of cargo. But after the sinking, 57 bodies were retrieved and unidentified. 66 bodies were retrieved but were unidentifiable, I should say. A number of bodies were trapped inside the sunken wreckage, and these bodies were left in place because the decision was made to leave the boat and the entrapped bodies undisturbed. It was one of the worst, if not the worst, maritime disasters in the Caribbean, which involved a great loss of life. Christina, if my memory serves me well, was replaced by the MV La Amiga that was subsequently substituted by the MV Carib Queen until government privatized the ferry operations in 2003 or 2004, thereabout, my Straight Dog family. A memorial to the disaster is located on the waterfront in Charlestown, Nevis. And that memorial reads, and I quote, "In loving memory of all those who lost their lives in the Christina disaster of August 1st, 1970, rest in peace, RIP. In 2011, a new monument was erected at the grave of 13 of the 233 victims who are interred at the Bath Cemetery in memory of Christina. No memorial, I say no memorial to the disaster can be found on St. Kitts. But I vividly recall that scores of victims were buried in a mass grave that was dug to the north or southeastern corner of the Springfield Cemetery. Where is that mass grave today is anybody's guess, as that mass grave at Springfield was never preserved. We, at Straight Talk, however, will here and now preserve the solemn memory of those who perished in the Christina disaster on August 1st, 1970, and pray that their souls may continue to rest in peace. As you open the lines, my Straight Talk families, I wish that we consider what the Nevis Island administration has done to commemorate this disaster 50 years on. What can or should the federal government do to commemorate the lives that were lost in that disaster? These are some of the questions we're going to ask. I'm going to open the lines and you can really engage in that discussion or raise any particular issue you may wish to raise. But I want to implore you, as per usual, respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And let us, my Straight Dog family, in the process of saying and doing, let us ensure that we will strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, I go to the lines and the numbers again are 465-2555, 718-577-2916. Again, 465-2555, 718-577-2916. You can access us as well by our email address, which is zizstraighttalk@gmail.com, zizstraighttalk@gmail.com. At 29 or 28 past the 8 o'clock hour, we say, caller, you are live, caller.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, my dear.
I'd like to get on to the program.
Yes, you are on to the program. Just turn your radio, your equipment
I'm
down.
on. Oh.
Yes, you are on. Just turn your equipment down so the whole world can hear you, my dear.
Good. Okay. Good evening, Patches.
Good evening, my dear. How
I
are
am so happy to hear that you have started with this program with the disaster, the Christina disaster. I am so proud of Nevis having put down that memorial. I make one suggestion, that we can simply put a memorial up in the war memorial area down at the bayfront by the fort. Just put something to stand on the grass portion of it and use that area, because it's an area of respect for those who died. All right, that's that. Now, my brother, Herman Udenberg, and Michael Brisbane, and Ian Kelsick, 3 young boys, and they set out to go over to Nevis for that weekend. Poor Ian lost his beautiful motorcycle down in the boat. But the 3 of them were very lucky to have been able to swim to the area where point of St. Kitts, right, the last point of St. Kitts between the ocean. And they were saved, but they have terrible memories of that day. At least I speak for my brother. But, you know, it's something that he went through and he has to deal with. But I'm sure that every year, he doesn't live here anymore, but I'm sure that every year it comes back to him about this disaster. So I pray and thank God for all of those people who lost their lives, and may God grant them eternal rest. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that suggestion there, a war put a memorial in the war memorial area. Caller, you live. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Hello?
Yes, you're live. Could you turn your equipment or your radio down? You're getting a distraction here. Are you there?
Yeah.
Yes. Just move away from your equipment and just listen to the telephone.
I'm ready though.
Yeah, but just turn your radio up. I want the world to hear you. You're being distracted. Are you there?
It's good night to celebrate Christmas.
Hello?
Happy Year and celebrate Christmas.
Are you there? Are you there, caller? Are you there, caller? Okay, we're having some difficulties with that call. Caller, you're live. Wow, I wish everybody could just turn their radio down, turn your equipment down, move away, because you get a terrible feedback. Callers, we're not going to be able to entertain your calls if you have all this noise in the telephones. Are you there, caller?
Good night, you could hear me?
Yeah, but turn your radio or your equipment down, please.
Okay, I just making a little...
No, I'm going to have to ask you to turn your equipment down, move away, listen to your telephone, otherwise we can't have this conversation. So.
Yeah, Mr. Liburd?
So.
I'm making a little correction.
Yeah, but please, could you turn your equipment down? Can you hear me? Turn your equipment down.
Turn down. In my car.
Lock off your radio. Lock off your radio, please, in the car.
Okay. After the Christina was the barfish.
The barfish? Okay.
You remember now?
So it was the Liamigo. Was the barfish?
After Christina, it was barfish.
Barfish.
Before Liamigo.
I
got me?
I vaguely recall that, but...
You could hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear. The barfish
after the Christina, it was barfish.
Okay, barfish
okay?
After Christina. Okay.
Yeah, this is your friend, man.
Okay, got
Driving instructor Williams.
How art thou, my dear brother?
Okay.
Yes. What do you think about a memorial, some momentum for those who perished?
I will get a donation towards it. But somebody was saying, do it up by the War Memorial, wherever they put it. Wherever they put it and I'm going to put down one, I will subscribe to it.
Okay, my dear brother.
Okay, all right.
Thanks.
I might call again later.
Thanks for your input.
All right, all the best. This is your boy, man, Williams, driving instructor.
Got you loud and clear, Mr. Instructor.
Okay.
Williams. Caller, you're live.
Hello. Hey, Patrick, good evening. How you doing, buddy?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
Good. Why don't you just put down the monument again? They've been with this every year. But after that, Christina went down. Nobody was talking about it, whether the people need it or the people in Sink. No, you're saying they're going to find. How do they find anything in the cemetery? The cemetery, the graves are piling up on each other. There's no woman but they need to find that place, put down the monument, and let's talk this thing every year, and then Sylvine come yet and the other people start complaining and blaming that, blaming this, blaming Bradshaw, blaming this, blaming. It's not that. Get it done and let's get it over. But if you look in Nevis, and I don't mean to be insensitive, in Nevis, when did they put down that thing in Nevis, the monument on the waterfront there? You remember what the date was?
I don't recall, but I
okay, well, what I'm saying, nobody was talking about it, whether in Nevis or Sink it. It's only after secession, they wanted to bring secession. Then they start putting down and making it a Sink it's Nevis thing. It's not a Sink it's Nevis thing. Everybody died. A lot of people from Sink it's, a lot of people from, the majority from Nevis. But if every year they come with this talking and victimhood and change, it was done to create friction between the people. Nobody, neither from Sinkits or Nevis, was talking about this Christina disaster for years, whether in Nevis or Sinkits. It was done after people started driving up things. drive division between petition and division.
Okay, but it's 50.
Put down the monument and let's go.
Okay, let's put it where?
Well, fine. Everybody have an idea where the graves were, where the mass grave was. But if you look at things today, look at in place in Africa and everything, these boats are going on with hundreds of people, hundreds. Because when people don't do due diligence, this is what happens. When you don't do due diligence, this is what happens. And it's happening today. People are doing what they want in Sinkit. We have become a nation of thieves and liars. We have to do the right thing. Find the place, everybody must do it. Put down the monument and let's stop the division. Because this is what this thing is, division. And that Marlon Nevis was done to create division. Nobody in Nevis and Sinkit was talking about this for years after that thing. Okay. Anyhow, have a good evening, sir.
Have a good evening as well, my dear brother. Always assertive and to the point. Caller, you live.
Young Patrick Liburd, my brother, my friend, my boss, a good man, a young man from East Bastille who tried to make a difference. And we want you back, you know. We want you back because you usually do things, man. Chefton, my friend, that was always a client calling Sinkits. Christina. You know, all the years in America, you know, used to be down here to hear us balling. This thing is overdue, Chefton. We have to get it done. And I need my Honorable Prime Minister to go over Nevis in the National Assembly tomorrow and deliver. Because I know he could deliver. We need 2 monuments. We're going down there in the colonial market. We need something right here in front of Rams. And we're going up on the mass grave and put something up there. And every year we come down here by the roundabout. And we're going to celebrate it from these 50 years. We need to do it, Ian. This is a passion for Sinkits people, especially Newtown and Irish Town people. We watch the boat go and come every day. That's it. I will be back. Chefton, you got to know Sinkits history, boy. We always talk about that.
Yeah, got you, my dear brother. We need... Thanks a lot for your input. We go straight back to the lines. Call you live.
Yes, good night.
Good night, sir.
That caller concerning which the boat that operated after Christina, he was so correct. It was the MV Barfish, and then after the Barfish was MV Rosal. Lion Eagle came after.
So it was the Barfish Rosal. I remember Rosal. I mean, Rosal.
And you remember Rosal had sunk in the harbor down there?
Yes, Rosal was Captain Astafan. Then you had Captain Gums.
Then you had Lion Eagle after.
Oh, my memory has missed 2 important dates or 2 important vessels.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your input, man. What do you think about the monument in St. Kitts?
I think that should have been done a long time. On the site down there where they had the mass grave in St. Kitts, it's in the area of the college down there. Yeah. You could saw in the southeastern area of the cemetery. Some kind of monument should have been erected inside there. Okay. That's how I feel about that.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Thanks for your input and thanks for your advice there in terms of the Barfish and the MV Rosal. I remember the MV Rosal.
Good night, Patrick.
Good night, my dear.
This is Dumpling speaking.
Lydia Manning?
Dumpling.
Dumpling Lydia Manning. How about that?
I'm fine.
Good to hear you.
Anyhow, Janet said to tell you how the...
Give her my regards as well. Janet in St. Martin, right?
She said when the border line open, you will see her.
Forward to that.
Okay. Patrick, they're going round and round. Must put it all round the fort in front of Rams. You know, in front of Rams was dot, the sand, where this man Bat used to have a big boat when carrying people out. But I telling them, put it there by the treasury. There is where the boat leave from the land. Put it there by the treasury, right there in front of the gate, which part when you come out of the arch, put it there. Is there the place start from go on? There is the best place to put it. Because the Nevis had a one down there by the waterfront. Nobody buried there. But there is where the Nevis people that leave from. All kind of people saying all kind of thing, you know. When the Nevis big boat them come, is right there by the church. They used to show the cattle them to go down in the market to kill. A lot of them were talking there, not up the small field. And they cannot put it up here by the Pelican Mall. There was the long pier where the thing where they used to carry the food and so with the badge them and so.
The warehouse pier.
But they cannot put it up there. Put it by the small pier there where rock be.
Okay, so you put it by the what you call where the journey started at the Prejudice Pier.
Yes, it's where it starts from.
And the Nevis
remember where the small pier was?
Yes, the Treasury page was called, yeah.
Yes, and it's where it starts from.
Right, I got you.
Put the thing right there so.
Okay, man.
And then you could still put one in the cemetery. And too late, you could put one in the cemetery. It's better for the government do it than somebody else come and do it.
Okay.
Put it now. We need it now and put it there. There by the old treasury and put it right there in front of the college. It's off where the people them buried.
The mass grave, yes. Okay, got you.
Yes.
Got you, my dear sister.
Not around the memorial. Ain't going around the memorial. The pier was around there.
Okay.
Okay.
Got you loud and clear. The suggestion is you put it, you erect the monument where the journey started by the old Treasury Pier. All that land was reclaimed, so it has disappeared. But the old Treasury Pier and in Nevis, it's where the journey ended, there on the waterfront. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Good night, Patches, Honorable Patches Liburd.
My dear brother.
This is Sugar.
Sugar's from down west.
West Farm.
West Farm, got you.
Yeah. The dumpling idea ain't sound too bad, really, but I believe down there by the same roundabout in front of Rams, it ain't too far. It will look more open there. It look more official there. And then you could have a little garden around it and so on. Because I think Jam down say put it there too. You see up there, in more wide away to the back up there. But down by the roundabout, I think that is better too. It's good.
Okay.
But dumpling idea ain't too bad.
Okay.
How the politician them a treat you? They bring away the foreign dollar. They mash up the country too. See up drive home.
Okay, my brother. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live.
Hello.
Yes,
good night, Patches.
Good night, my dear.
I like dumplings idea.
Yeah, turn the radio down, can you?
Oh gosh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that.
That's fine.
I like dumplings idea.
Okay.
The journey starts from there and it ends up there.
Okay.
As she said, you put the thing there, everybody can see it. You can stay out in the water and see it. I like her idea very much.
Okay.
You have a good night.
Have a good night as well.
Bye. Sorry about the radio.
That's fine. I just wanted the world to hear you, my dear.
Yes, okay, dear.
Thanks a lot for your input. We go straight back to the lines. A caller at 17 before 9. You're live.
Greetings in the name of our great African ancestors, especially the most honorable Marcus Messiah, Gabian Queen and King. Yeah, blessed evening, my beloved African brother. How are you and your family of the Federation?
Peaceful, my dear brother. You and yours?
Good, brother. Good. All is well. Now, brother, let me start from the Genesis and come up to 1970. Brother, our ancestors toiled in the sugaring fields, brother, for centuries. Brother, monument. We must have an African Holocaust Museum. Dear brother, I've been calling for that for years, brother. That must be done, beloved brother. And, brother, I want to see August 1st come a national holiday, Emancipation Day, brother. That be Emancipation Day. Not this August Monday thing, if we August 1st fall on Monday is a holiday, and you could get you to holidays still we don't deal with culture, but August 1st
But it's
must
always
become
the first.
emancipation, then that must be a holiday. Not just so picnicking and thing, brother. We must teach our children, man, the entire month, brother, about the struggles, man, that our ancestors went through and force those wicked people up in England to sign the document. They didn't sign it out of the goodness of their heart, brother. So we get to do that. Let me come to 1970 now. That perilous day, brother. That perilous day. Brother, 2 monuments. I agree with Sister Dumpling. Brother, must be by a little pier. And I will say up in the cemetery itself, brother. Because, brother, you have to tell me, nobody have any records with the mass grave was, brother? It's supposed to, man. You know, it must. It must have some kind of record, some kind of number, something there, brother. 2 monuments must be put there, brother. One where the little pier and one up in the cemetery, in Springfield Cemetery. Brother, and all of the people gonna be mad with this, brother. Those families, those people who perish, brother, never get no reparation. And the cabal, the British cabal that we had at that time, brother, where the money went, brother? Where the money went? I never hear people spoke about that money. Where the money went? Because if I'm not mistaken, I mean, I was just 11 years old then. But from what I can recall, the British gave them some kind of money. I stand corrected, but I sure, brother, those families never get compensated, brother, and it's not too late. It's already 50 years ago. You could track them, those family members, man. Some kind of reparation must be given to the family of those people who perish and that they beloved. But I know some as well now to speak. Oh,
yes,
before you go,
yes, please,
the case going to be heard tomorrow again, right?
Pardon?
The case,
yes,
those
court resumes.
election petition cases.
Yes, court resumes tomorrow, virtually. So,
Okay,
yes.
brother, okay.
Thanks a lot.
Brother, thanks again for hearing me. Keep up the great works. Watch your back. Pan-Africanism our pressure. Continue to listen. One love, beloved.
One love.
And happy emancipation, day, my beloved.
Same to you, my brother. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you alive.
Good night, Patches.
Good night, sir.
Good night, my brother.
Good night, the brother.
Good. I support Dumpling. She forced me. She got in before me. It should be by the Treasury Pier. Where the Treasury Pier was, there's where the boat took off from, and some kind of memorial should be there, right in that area by the old Treasury. So I support Dumpling with that. I second the motion.
My dear brother, got you loud and clear.
Good.
Thanks a lot. At least we all agree there should be a monument, and most have agreed it should be where the journey started, at the old Treasury Pier. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Good night.
Yes, you have your radio equipment on. Could you just move away from it, turn it down, please? Are you there?
Good night.
Yeah. Good night, my dear. But please turn your equipment or your radio down. Or turn it off, please.
Oh, yes. Good. Excuse me. You can hear me better?
Yeah, but just turn your radio off or move on in another room or something. You don't need the radio. Just listen to the telephone.
Good night.
Good night, my dear.
What I'm saying, I agree with Dumpling. But instead of in front of the Treasury, it should be right across here, MoneyGram in, between MoneyGram and Rock, somewhere across the area there, because I could remember the pier was there when I was a little girl. So I suggest somewhere about cross there would do. And that will give more sight and more space that the children of nowadays, they like, when Friday afternoon, they like to go over Port Bante. And that will give them more space when they go and they see the monument. They will ask what is and somebody will be able to give them the history of it.
Okay, got you loud and clear. Thanks for your input, my dear sister. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller? Hello, caller. Okay, let's take this other call. Caller, you are live.
Good night, Professor Ian Patrick Driver.
Champion, the fighting hunks. I'm peaceful, man. Yourself?
I just have my 4 weeks.
You haven't got up for me as yet. I'm still waiting.
I'm getting up, you know.
You're getting up? Okay.
You'll soon see me one come to you down.
Oh, come back home.
Yes, you'll soon see me one to you down.
Okay, my brother. Fighting hunks.
Patrick, I want to share my sympathy with the late brother Bumpy Davis. I heard he got an accident today, and I want to wish him speedy recovery. And I want to share my sympathy with Fighting Chicken family. Remember Fighting Chicken?
Fighting Chicken has died, right? I forgot that.
He died.
Yes, he was in your what do you call it? Class? Your weight? How's it called?
No, you know my weight class now.
Weight class, okay.
He was a below.
He was below, okay.
He was a lightweight.
I was a lightweight. I forgot Fighting Chicken, yes.
At one time they wanted me to box, you know. He did some incredible thing in boxing in the Caribbean. You know, he was as far as me Caribbean job. He knocked out Easy Boy Lake. Easy Boy Lake is a guy who he fought 3 times. Never knocked him out. They stopped the competition with me. But I know Fighting Chicken knocked him cold. And Fighting Chicken did something again in St. Kitts. I mean, shocked. Look, the whole stadium shocked. When he knocked out the late Joe Walcott. Remember Walcott from St. Peter's?
Yeah, Walcott, yeah.
He knocked out Walcott. And he was a great boxer. And I think my biggest chance, he missed it by immigration. When he was going to Puerto Rico. He had a boxing match in Puerto Rico. But I warned him when he got to St. Thomas. I told him, do not go to Puerto Rico to box. Because if he say he have, then question him. Because I told him I had problem passing to Puerto Rico. Main boxing in Puerto Rico, I'm only passing through. And because they understand I'm fighting hunks, passing to Puerto Rico, if they want to stay. So they always give me problem every time I go to Puerto Rico. I used to leave St. Kitts, going up to Curacao and go to Puerto Rico. When I was even going to Ecuador, to box, I had to go to Puerto Rico. And when I got to Puerto Rico stopped me and they harassed me. I tell them I'm not boxing in Puerto Rico. I'm passing through. They say, you sure you're only just going through? I say, yes, I say. I mean, and they bring out what I call that, the detective to escort me to the plane.
Okay, you remember the Christina days, though?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Fighting Chicken, the Christian days, I missed the boat by a drop of sleep. You remember the Calypsonian Pap?
Pap, yes.
Yeah, the mighty, they called him Pat.
Yeah, so you were going to Nevis, though?
Yeah, well, me, he was to go to Nevis.
Okay.
Me, he, and a friend of mine from Nevis called Robert Brown. And the Brown?
Brown from the estate?
From the estate, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Me, he and he was to go to Nevis together.
So you think there should be a monument put someplace in St. Kitts?
I think that long overdue.
Where will you put it?
Where in front of the treasury there.
Treasury, okay.
Treasury on by the arch there.
Mm-hmm.
But in front, because that's where the boat leave from.
Okay.
That's where the boat leave from to go across the sea. And that boat used to leave every time that around time of the year. August, Monday, that boat will leave full. I remember riding across to Nevis. When you coming from Nevis to St. Kitts, I ride outside of the boat, holding on. The boat so full that I cannot hold inside. So I outside holding on and holding on the boat from the outside. But me pay Me and pay the car those days, they to come around and pick up the money.
Okay.
But those days you have to buy a ticket.
Okay.
The ticket start when after Christians sing. After Christians sing and they realize the amount of people they pick up dead. That most of what the boat could carry.
Yes, yes.
They pick up those more what the boat could carry.
Okay.
Then they realize something was going on. So then they start to sell tickets at the pay before you go out to the boat.
Okay.
And they realize then somebody's asking a question. This boat going full all the time, overloaded, but we are getting the exact money.
Okay. Okay. Got you loud and clear, my dear champion.
I think the idea is look that should have done.
Long time ago.
We should be polished. No.
Okay. Got you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. That's the champion fighting hunks to agree with the monument as well. Someone raised the issue about what he called it reparations. Someone raised the issue of compensation.
Now it's been 50 years that the Christina has sunk. Has your government or the federal government given any consideration to compensate the survivors of the Christina or even families of persons that would have perished on the Christina?
One asked that question as well. Caller, you're live. Compensation.
Good night to the Honorable Ian Patrick Liburd. Good night.
Good night, my brother.
Patches, only under a unity government these things will happen. Other government was there before and no crying out like now. Patches, since this unity government gone in, they put a heroes park for all the heroes them to go up there by need most. And I'm sure everybody see that. You had one heroes park and that was down St. Paul's. You understand? With one man. And you had the Power Southwell Park too. The Power Southwell Industrial site up here. Patches, let me tell you something, right? Only under unity government, all with us are going to take place. You understand? Just give us time. Everything you all say going to take place. Because this government, the ears, the nose, and everything out there, listening and smelling. You understand? So, people come with a proposal, man, no nothing. This unity government going to take care of everything. That's why we went, that's why when they went to the poll the second time, we gave them a resounding victory. You understand? The people put a unity government there for that. Because they see that what happened in the first term. And they decide don't give a second term and they give it good. So people all ask for, you all going to get. You understand? Everything take time. I say we in a corona situation right now.
So you support the memorial or not?
Oh, I support it, yeah, man. I support it.
Where we will put it? Where would you put it?
Well, Patrick, wherever they put it, you know.
Well,
I don't know because
the tongue
kind of congestion now with land and things. So
I don't want a lot of land.
Eh?
You don't need a lot of land.
I know you need a lot of land. Just with our dumplings, you can find some kind of area there.
Okay.
The lady said, boy, the roundabout, the same roundabout there when you're going in Port Zante there.
Okay, got you, man.
You want when you're going in Port Zante?
Yes, I
yeah,
got
you could go right in that area there too.
Okay, got you loud and clear.
Thanks. Okay, apologies.
Thanks a lot. I'm sorry about that. Thanks a lot for your input. Call you live.
Patrick, again. If that is the point in face, when he come out of the treasury with his briefcase, it looked like he and them had an argument in jail. When he see the crowd, Punty went on bad. You understand? He tell them some of them don't go on the boat. Whether one they can go all the way around the fort, all up and down. See, it's far. Up to the other afternoon, I want to know where this step where you were supposed to walk in to go in to pay money. I used to go there to pay my grandmother land tax. And in studio Punting come the afternoon in the black and white clothes and he black and white hat. And if you see the man, he vexed mad. She went and he talked something to Joshua. Joshua Boatley just coming in. He had the Sagoni boat outside, that we used to call the flower boat. And he was telling Joshua something. Whether want to put it where the boat, the farm.
Okay, got you. Got you, dumpling. Got you, dumpling.
Everything used to organize there. When the people, when the federal palm, the federal maple coming in for the lead while when everybody there with a suitcase to catch Joshua launch to go off. There was the real place. Put it there.
Okay, we got you loud and clear.
Okay.
You seem to be the majority thus far. And yes, you're right. It was reported that Pontine left the pier, went to the Ministry of Communications, consulted with the PS, permanent secretary then, Jules Cox, and asked permission to do a second trip. And that request was denied. And Cox ruled it was only one trip. And Pontine took that risk, took that chance. And the rest is history. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller, you're alive.
Yes, I think Dumpling's suggestion was good, but I still feel that the monument, placing it in the roundabout is more effective because it's more visible. Persons driving back and forth on the Bell Road can see, tourists passing could see it. You won't have to go into Port Zante to see the monument. So if it is placed in the roundabout itself, it will be more visible from the Bell Road. And I think that is a more effective place for it. It doesn't have to be where the boat left. I mean, it is in the area, you know. So I think in the roundabout, that's the best place. And then you have to well decorated with nice trees around it. Gorgeous. That's my input.
Thank you. That's your input. That's what Straight all about. Caller, you live.
Hey, Patrice, good night.
Good night, sir.
Oh, you know how long me call upon the program and me can get you ask about. Me not care if I put the thing on Christina disaster. Because I think it's small, me not care if I put it. But me care about one thing now. What about the $14.7 million where Pinda, Fungus, Douglas, and Switzerland, and nobody know about it? That I money, but I could put it anywhere I want now because that money, poor people money, could put couple hold on. You don't think so?
I'm at a loss here, quite frankly, caller.
No laugh. Pick up this slack. You remember long ago when Douglas was in power? He said, "What you will in Edmead, Switzerland." You hear that, right?
I can't be cautious in terms of the names you're calling and certain things allegations you're making.
But that's how the newspaper put it back.
If you have the newspaper, my dear brother, bring me the
newspaper. No, me hear funny news.
If you have the news item, bring it to me and let's have a discussion on that.
Man, me hear funny news like how you
I haven't heard it, but please be careful about the allegations you're making and calling people's names.
So it never happened then?
I am not aware of what you're speaking about, but I'm saying again, if you have allegations, I need to be you make statements, I need to be able to verify those statements. Okay?
So I mean, want to know about it then?
Well, if you have it, bring it to me. I'm not hard to find. Bring it to me. Let's talk about it. We can have a half an hour, an hour, and we have discussions on whatever.
So nobody tell you that the man went up go bail admit.
I am not my brother. Let's not go down that road, please. I mean,
the $40.7 million gone on the jail for people money. Thanks. Not for the question.
Thanks for your understanding, my brother. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yes, good evening, Dr. Patrick.
Your humble
this
servant.
This is King Rockefeller on the line here.
The People's King.
The People's King. First, I want to send my condolences out to Mazza family, my good friend Mazza Keynes, and I want to Omak family, Chicken family, and somebody else there who we know that died lately here. But anyway, my condolences out to all of them who have deaths in the family. Now, when it comes to the Christina, you hear people saying that they need to pay the people and them. But I don't know if you know how the Christina was operate. The Christina was belongs to St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla. It was given to us as a gift from the the Guyanese government. I think was Jagan Bonham, one of them, you know, and that was given to us as a gift. Now, I hear a lot of people say it was a riverboat. It's not a riverboat. I sailed from St. Kitts to Barbados many times on the Christina. Go up and come back. One time we ran aground in St. Lucia, and they had to come and tow the boat back to Barbados. I went to Anguilla during the hurricane. I think it was Hurricane Donna. We went Sambo River Lighthouse to drop off food. You understand me? The Christina roll, and we were successful in putting the food on the island and so on. But it's a bad thing what happened. And if I was there that day, I will to be one who drowned too. Because when I used to work on it, from the time we don't pick up the money, I find a cabin. You understand me? And so on. So I will take a trap in there. You know, so. But as we do, we just have to pray for the people who were saved and the people who was gone. And the ornament, if they're going to put an ornament, I think you should put it right in the middle there at the, when you're coming off the ferry, to, like you're going, where the boat used to go there, the small pier was, so people can see from there. We ain't putting it there for tourists, we're putting it there for the people from here, Anguilla and different things. Yeah. Anything you want to ask me?
That's done by you. That's what you
Yes,
said?
yes, sir. Right in the middle there, in the roundabout in there.
Okay, so you agree with Dumpling then?
Yes, yes. Let me explain, Patrick. Tonight, you just have to say extra prayer, and the Lord is there with you. Don't get frustrated. Don't let nobody spoil your night, and because you know what is taking place tomorrow. And you go in there, being calm, and with a strong mind and a strong power of God. And you know the Prime Minister is behind you. Some of the cabinets are behind you, right? And you go with your strength. You're the praying man, and you know what prayers are. So you don't have to bother with who wish you bad and anything. They cannot do. Well, God is free, nobody can be against you. So God bless you. You have some nice rest tonight and get yourself in gear tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow somewhere down there if you've been around.
Thanks. We'll have a berries tomorrow. Thanks a lot, my brother.
Okay, brother.
Okay. That's the King Rockefeller. Good night, Patches reads this email. Not sure if you mentioned it in your intro, but just wanted you to make mention of the passing of Richard Kane Sr. You have lost a great, what's you're trying to say? A great one, beg your pardon. Yes, it was mentioned in my opening, so that was mentioned. Good evening, Patches. I know everyone is entitled to their opinion, but you have a gentleman who calls into your program regularly, chatting a lot of nonsense and always talking division. The monument in Nevis was erected for one reason only, in memory of the people who lost their lives. As you mentioned earlier, most of the people who lost their lives were from Nevis, and many of them were vendors who came to St. Kitts to provide for their families. My mother and other relatives died on the boat, and what happened to the disaster relief funds? Monies were collected and just disappeared in the wind. Finally, I would like to tell that foreigner who is always talking about Clause 113 to talk unity instead of division. In these challenging times, we do not have place for division. Reads that email. Caller, you missed that call. Let's take this other call. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Hey, Patches.
Yes, my brother.
Patches, watch here. Let me show you something, right? I really feel like behind there by the treasury, they got the space. And down in front of them is more ideal for
you got a radio on, my dear brother, have you?
Yes, yes.
Please turn it on.
Yes.
Yes.
And I wanna congratulate the fellow Steve Manners in Nevis. He behind this thing, he been pushing, and we have to give him some kind of support to get the administration them to admire the disaster and the people who was on the board. That fella they've been pushing from since last year, Steve Manners, and he deserves some credit. And Skeet should be honored. Winston Skeet should be honored with his contribution every year. Go out to sea and lay wheat, and I hear they're doing it different way. They got scuba divers going down and putting a wheat below the bottom and the ship direct, the whole way. And these things we must congratulate the players. We must congratulate the lady in the States who sing that song. Very good piece, Patches. You have to hear it. Because I know if you and she would do it, it's a better song. You don't see the best out of where we got here. I did not think it's got some good ladies could sing like that. The thing about it, she from St. Kitts.
Who's that?
She from Nevis. And that little girl got talent, Patches. I really like to hear you singing a voice of that, and she do a voice and somebody else do a voice. Very nice. But we have to congratulate the 50th anniversary. It's overdue. The Prime Minister and the Premier, they have to go to Nevis tomorrow because that mark's supposed to be some history for the people that think it's a Nevis. We can't drop the ball, and my Prime Minister cannot drop the ball. Have a good day, Patches.
Have a good night as well.
Have a good night.
Brother.
Have a good night.
Thanks a lot for your input. Let's caller, you're live.
Yes, I'm back again. No, as regards to putting the monument, that arch for the Treasury, I cannot see nowhere else to put that monument but directly straight in alignment with the arch where the pier was. You walk straight on from under the arch, straight on the Treasury pier. And there's where all the people walk to their death. They walked straight under the pier, went on straight under the arch, went straight onto the pier, on the boat, and I can't see no other way to put that monument but in the center, as Mr. Rock said, next to him. Next to him. I can't see it no other how. So, and it's only something like what, 10, 12, 15 feet tall? Just about that. And the names of the Nevisians and the Kittitians who lost their lives there. And as regards to where at the cemetery, where the mass grave was dumped, I was there. I was a young policeman at the time. And I know where it is. It definitely needs marking out. And whatever is to be done, do it. Okay. Whatever is to be done. If they want to ask me a question, no problem. I will go and show them. Because I was there. That's all I have to say for now, brother.
Thank you very much.
All right.
I asked the question, where is that mass grave today? Is anybody's guess? So we have a volunteer to identify the area, ex-policeman, as you said. But at that mass grave at Springfield Cemetery was never preserved, but it's not too late. Caller, you're live.
I know.
Hello, caller.
Yes, good night, Patches.
Good night, my dear. How about that?
I called really to again to send my condolences to Mr. Kinn's family. And while you were talking about Mr. Kinn, Terry came to my mind. So Terry, please to call in the station and at least let me know you're okay because you came to my mind. And that is your question about the monument for the Christina. When you mentioned it, the first thing came to my mind is that the question is monotonous. And why I said that is because during the time when the other government was in power, this was a cry over and over. People come on the radio every year and say the same thing. And I believe the government have changed. This is going to be the second term now. Okay, they should have at least start working on something. They know the 50th anniversary is coming up. They should have something ready to put down for the 50th anniversary. So my point to all this, it is monotonous. It's time now that the government listen, because Mr. Politics, he claims it's going to be done under this government, and this government is listening. Honestly, if the government were listening, they would have something ready for the big 50th anniversary. You have a good night. God bless everyone.
Have a good night as well. Connecticut there from Conway. Caller, you live. Okay, let's take this other call. Caller, you are live. Hello,
Hello, evening, Patrice. How are you?
I am peaceful, sir.
Okay, wonderful. Patrice, I just tuned into your program, right? And you have a topic here which is very, very much interesting. The Christina disaster. I am one who actually supports the monument in St. Kitts. I think it is overdue, but if you're making a step to get there, then we are doing something great. And I hear most people are debating that the treasury is too small, that this is too small, but you must take it into consideration that there is where the Christina leave from on the 1st of August in 1970 to go over to Nevis. And we know that the Christina was actually supposed to carry 150 people. And it had on over 300 people. Looking at the survivors and the people that died, you would realize that you have on over 150 people more than it was supposed to carry. If you go back and you look at history, history would tell you that Punton was the captain, but he wasn't at the time. At the disaster, Frank was at the helm. The Frank from Kian was at the helm. Punton was picking up cash at the same time. And there is a survivor that I would actually like someone to get to him so they could get the real story. This is a guy by the name of Livingston Chapman. He was 12 years old when it happened. He's still around today, Rasta guy from Connery. And he told me how it happened. He said there was no rain, it was a normal day. And the boat just capsized. Most people said the rain came, the boat went to the left and then come back to the right. He said there was nothing like that. And I worked with a gentleman whose name was Freco, who was part of the boat. And I always hear Freco say, this guy, there was a little boy who jumped through a window. I mean, looking at Christina, those windows were very small. And he said there was a little guy who jumped through the window. And just last week I was speaking to the guy said Freco was around, he would have tell you that I jumped through that window. He said he swam into Nog's Head. And he and another guy who used to work factory. And when he swam into Nog's Head, he said shortly after, he see Ian Kelsey coming in with tuffins on his feet. I mean, it may sound funny, but he said he see Ian Kelsey came in with tuffins on his feet. So I'm saying that there are people who are around who know the history of Christina, because what we are getting from a book that someone writes. Yes, they might have come around and gathered information, but to get it from someone who was there firsthand and hear their report, I think that we should look forward to that. And I'm saying that I must give kudos to the government for trying to erect a monument, because it's overdue.
So where would you erect it?
I would erect it right in front of the Treasury, right under the Treasury Arch, because, like I said, there is where the Christina leave from in 1970 and the 1st of August. And I don't know, it seems as if today is the 30th?
30th, yes.
So it means then that the 1st of August again will fall on a Saturday. I mean, this year.
Yes.
After 50 years, the 1st of August come back on a Saturday. Yes. I'm saying that, the whole nation should have a silent or even 2 minutes silent just to remember that, because 50 years ago, this disaster happened. Yes, people from St. Kitts and Nevis lost their life because then they were going up for function also, and there were people who was going up from finished working, who was vendors and such things. So I really think that we should have, it should be a day that we should have some kind of soft remembrance, maybe 2 minutes after nation, but 2 minutes silent, because you would never see Christina's disaster again in St. Kitts and Nevis. The traffic is too fast right now, so you would never see that again. And like I was saying, that one of the things is that the boat was supposed to carry 150. It was had over 300 person. Most people are saying that factory was doing some work on the boat, and they probably leave one of the hatch open. Most people are saying one of the ballast was, I mean, I don't know, that's what people are saying. Okay. But like I'm saying is that we need to get some information from guys who, and there's a guy, his name is Livingston Chapman, that was, they call him something else, but he if you look at it, you see Livingston Chapman from Nevis.
Okay,
because
gotcha.
he's still around.
Yes, gotcha. Thanks
So,
a lot.
you know, it's like, I think that we should, I wouldn't take up any more of your time, brother. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for your input. There have been several accounts, yes, but it's good to have all accounts. Patches, in terms of the monument, I would agree with those persons who suggest that it should be in the area of the old treasury. The pier used to be in that area, and there is adequate space available. Long overdue in St. Kitts, though. Caller, you line. Are you there, caller?
Hello?
Yeah, just turn your radio down if you want to be heard, sir. Can you?
Hello?
You're going to have to turn your radio or your equipment down, please. Can you? Are you there? Caller, for the last time, you're going to have to turn your radio down if you want me to entertain this call. Can you?
Yeah.
Are you there?
Yes. Hello?
Yes. Good night.
Hello?
Yes, sir. I'm hearing you.
You know speaking to you?
Just tell me.
Huh?
Just tell me who is it and go ahead.
This is part of son, you know.
Sonny Nolan.
Yes.
How are you, my dear brother?
Oh, God, Master Man. Lord, I'm praying for you all this time. Praying for your brother.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Anyhow, I was on the casino and the same day. The August Monday.
You were?
I was on the casino when you went up, the morning.
The morning? What about the afternoon?
The morning when you went up, right? Listen. When you went up, me and say, I was supposed to go in the afternoon, but I said I went in the morning. Listen good. When I up nearest the half the day, when I reached nearest, I had grown. A fellow from Jamaica had a microwave going around saying something serious going to happen in news today. I went from there and I went to the drugstore there and I bought a ticket, $4 to come on the plane. Yeah? Yeah, you think? So that's the thing that happened in years. And I just think about it. I just hear and again, I try again to get you, and I just get you. Right? I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you.
Thanks a lot, my dear. Thanks a lot, dear Sonny.
Thanks to Practice, man. Have a good night and take care of yourself.
I will do.
Take care of yourself, brother.
Will do, man.
Practice, Sonny, love you. I always love you.
I love you more, my brother.
I know that. Thank God the first time I will get you. Thank God.
Thanks a lot for your input.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, my friend. Okay, good. Right.
Bye-bye. So it won't be your last time. Caller, you live.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, caller.
I can testify to what that gentleman just said. The Saturday Christina sang. There was a preacher from Jamaica. Had one of those and talking phone like those speaker like. Said before he go back to Jamaica, you're gonna hear about Little Nevis because some preaching he was doing and they stoned him the night. They stoned him the Friday night. He said before he go back to Jamaica, you'll hear about Little Nevis. And the Christian sang the same name. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your input, bringing back those memories, Patches. Good night. Dumpling has the best ideas. My brother Dunta, a cousin, and I and an uncle was actually on the boat as well. Read this email. This other email reads, let's take this call and then come back to those emails. Call your live.
My law.
Yes, sir.
I want to say good night to one of the survivors, every boy. Big Dread Dunta.
Yes, his cousin.
Dunta France for Enid and Esme and them cancel. You know Dunta, man. You know how we Dunta.
Yes, of
course. That's a survivor.
Of course, I know Dunta.
Well, so I just want to big him up. He's one of the survivors and things. I used to travel on Christina, but I never used to pay because Faker used to work on it. 25 cents you used to got to pay on top of that. I never used to pay because Faker working on it. That's my cousin, so I travel back and forth all the time. Okay. Sonny was right. Sonny had some daughters there. I mean, they came over before before the Christina went down. They were supposed to come over the same day too, Melda and Shea. You understand? But they stepped by us in Nevis when they came over. So it's a lot of things, you know what I mean? But I just bigging up them survivors and thing, and you know what I mean? Okay. And take care of yourself.
Thanks a lot, my brother. Thanks.
Bless up. Bless up.
Thanks for your input. We go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Hello. Hey, Patches, what's up?
I am peaceful, my brother.
Boy, he is lying down and listening to all those people. I mean, I've been doing this for years. I ain't looking for no praises. And I'm happy to know now that people are pushing it more than ever now. But to ask me, sorry, I think the roundabout in front of Rams or in the center of the Treasury, just opposite where Rock is and opposite where the jewelry place is. It means you're going to have to dig up all those tiles to put it there. It will be much easier where the dirt is in the roundabout. But anyway, the next issue I have, for years I've been calling. For years, we have another 19th of September coming up, Independence Day. And I don't know what they did last year. But this year, I would hope that they could find a woman for national hero, because all the people in them who are national heroes are politicians. And I don't see why it should be politicians. I believe that there are women who deserve to be national heroes right here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And I believe that the committee, if there is a committee at all get together, they should find a woman, because we have women politicians now. And it not really have to be a politician. I believe that there's a lot of people, women in St. Kitts, men who are not politicians, who should be given the honor of being named a national hero. That's all I want to put in for tonight. Yeah, I'll have September coming up now. A good way from now is almost 2 months, and I believe it's time now that the government, both in St. Kitts and Nevis, should find a woman to name a national hero, not politicians all the time, sir. That's my input.
Thank you. Well noted, my dear brother. A woman lead this country. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Hello, good night, Patrick.
Good night, sir.
We have a guy in Brick Hill right now, Clifford Jeffers, by the name of Oscar. We have to, he will come in at Tuesday. And we have to say thanks God to Mr. Skeet, because he dropped off a lot of them right there at Cadway. He's down in bed right now, but I think maybe they could get him in town Saturday. He's one who was there.
He's in Nevis?
Yes, in Nevis.
Okay.
In Bricklin.
Oh, Bricklin, okay. Okay, thanks for your input, sir.
That was better known as the Postcock.
What's the name you said?
Clifford Jeffers.
Oh, Clifford Jeffers. Okay. Better known as?
Postcock.
First Cock?
Yeah.
First Cock.
Yeah, yes, I hear it.
Okay, trusted man. Okay, my dear brother, thanks for the information.
Whitman Brown is very good. I guess he will call him tomorrow or whatever.
Okay.
Okay, then.
Thanks for your information. We go straight back to the lines at 9:29. Caller, you live.
Patches.
So.
I think Lord Cut was spent somewhere to talk to some month ago now. I think he said he was a survivor at the Christina disaster too.
I don't know.
Lord Cut was he was on with the same man Manners. Steve Manners from Nevis. Anyway, Patches, I'm agree with Connery Connecticut, right? I'm agree with her. I believe that since that we're talking about it, Unity done there for a term now. I believe that since this is the 50th anniversary, I believe that they should have put something in place. Even put up a, that got a little, I mean, it could happen still, because we're still in the year. So after tomorrow, after the 50th anniversary, Parliament with the Christina disaster, I think that they could still do some things. And I believe that, Patches, the government is really listening to people. You understand? Because a lot of things that said under the farmer administration was supposed to happen, and not one thing happened. You understand? So I believe moving forward, that is what we want. The people have come out and speak to what you want, and I believe that you all, we all elect you all here to represent us, and I believe that with a unity government, I believe the people of this country are well represented. You understand, Patches? Patches, you have a wonderful night. I want to wish Richard, the family of Richard Keynes, my sympathy, and my get well greetings to my good friend, Brother Bumpy. I always talk to him, Brother Bumpy, and I'm listening in the hospital right now. I was up there this afternoon, when I it's late, but they turned me back.
Okay.
I mean, what's the doing? Yeah.
Okay.
So, Patches, you have a wonderful night. Can you take out? Good night, man. Good night. I love your passionate voice.
Thanks a lot, my dear brother. We go back to the lines. Caller, you live.
Patches, me dumpling again. I would like to wish my king man tomorrow and the first will make him 50 years. He survived Christina, better known as Spin Man, Charles Topman, my sweet king man. He was on the boat. So, he survived.
Okay.
Coming from his sweetheart, I-plane.
Lydia Manners, dumpling.
Better known as I-plane.
I-plane.
Okay, that's it.
Thanks,
Patches, don't stress. God with you. You're covered with the blood of Jesus.
Yes, my dear.
Everything gonna work out good.
Everything will be all right. Yes.
Oh yes.
Thanks a lot.
See you.
Thanks a lot. We go back to the lines. Caller, you live.
Back to you again, my brother. I do hope that she's alive still. I do hope that. And with this subject matter tonight, I have fun in participating. Now, this young woman, she was on Christina. Her name is Shermel Mulrin. I do not know if she's still alive. She's in foreign. And when she sent to call me a couple of days after, she said, I thank you, I thank you, I thank you. You remember when you taught me to swim in Frigate Bay? I said, yes, I remember. I had just finished training, and I was a friend to the family. And we went Frigate Bay. And I taught her to make the backstroke and to swim from the front. And she said that when the boat went down, she was about, let me say, she would have been about 12 years old at the time. And she said when she realized she was floating, the boat went down, and lucky enough she was on top. She remembered what I taught her, and she was able to do the strokes, etc., until something came and picked her up. I do not know if she's still alive. So if she's still alive, wherever, I hope she's hearing my voice. She would know who. So I am part and parcel of this Christina disaster by helping her that she's alive today. And through that, in 1978, I made a presentation at the University Center, a speech I gave, and I got the first prize for that. Thank you much, brother.
Thank you very much. We go straight back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller?
Good night, Mr. Patches.
Good night, my dear.
I'm calling because my dad was on Christina too, Mr. Candle at the pasture. He also lost his mother, his last sister, and his nephew. And he swam all the way to Nevis. And then I think he does still throw over the wheat. As long as he in St. Kitts, he does throw over the wheat and the boat there. So I remember that.
Okay. How you feel when August comes around?
Sad.
Sad, yeah.
Because my father worked down here from the time he was 14 years. Mr. Candle at the pasture, he worked here since 14 years at the sugar factory as a welder.
Okay.
And then he walked right down until when they closed the door. And he still go to Nevis. He don't change. He swim. Lord Cut was on Christina too.
Okay. So you will support the erection of a monument?
Yeah, right where by Rock.
By Rock. Okay.
Yes, I just want to say good night to him, and thank God, God love him to see 80 years of his life and still going strong.
Okay.
Coming from all his children. Okay.
Thanks a lot for your input. Caller, you're live at 26 before 10.
That's you, how are you?
I am peaceful.
I'm back again, sorry about that. What I would like you to do for me, if it's possible, is to get people like Sam Lake, Ian Celtic, Mikey Brisbane, Livingston Sargent. All those are survivors and they're still strong and moving around. So, maybe even after Monday, you could get them on the air and let them say actually what they remember. Because there are still people who survive and still healthy. So I am requesting to you that you try and get a program with them so at least they could give what they remember. Because I think people like Sam Lake, Ian Celtic bike was still chained to the boat. I think there was 3 bikes that went down on the boat. 3 motorbikes that went down on the boat. So what I would like you to do for me, if it is possible, I'm not demanding you, I'm just asking you to see if you could get people like those to come on a program. They are still healthy and moving around. So at least they could give the nation an input of what happened.
Okay. Okay, thanks for your suggestion, my dear brother. Let's see how we can make that possible. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Hi, good evening.
Yes, you have your equipment on.
Yeah, I'm turning it off. Now. Good night, Patrick. How are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
I'm blessed. Thank you. Yeah, I hear all the callers them calling in. Well, my brother was the one, the little young boy who jumped through the window and swam to Knoxville. His name is Livingston France, but they call him Dunta. You know him. You know Dunta.
Okay, is this Lady D?
This lady, all right, Lady D, yes.
I got your voice.
And I had a cousin named Jessica Doe. She was on Christina. We never could identify her, so I guess she's one of those in the mass grave. And my uncle, Fraker, who used to play for the St. Kitts string band, Fraker. You was at his funeral?
Yes, sure, Fraker.
Yeah, my uncle, and he was on the Christian too. And he and my brother swam to Knoxville. So my brother is very much alive, and you could talk to him anytime you want. He had a lot of history about it.
Okay.
And he still has nightmares up to today about Christina.
Okay. Thanks for your input, my dear. Yes, you could imagine having survived that maritime disaster, one of the worst, if not the worst, in the Caribbean. Caller, you are live at 22 before 10. Caller? Hello, caller?
Good evening, Patrick.
Good evening. Sounds like the matron.
Yes, good evening. How are you doing tonight?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Oh, the same thing goes here. Very peaceful. I'm just listening to this program, about the Christina. Because strange enough today, as I was on Facebook, I saw where Romeo Paris, I know him as Alfred Paris, he had something to say about it, And when it took place in 1970, I was in the United States. I was doing that postgraduate course on obstetrics nursing. So I wasn't at home when it all happened. But what I'm saying is that it happened in 1970, and for 10 years, the Labour Party was in, and nothing was being done. And as Alfred stated, that he and his brother, they lost their mother and they lost their father on that incident that took place. And I could remember when I returned to St. Kitts, late 1970, Violet Jeffers, who was then working for the government, came over to Tabernacle because their last name was Paris. And she maybe thought that they might have had some related me in some way. And she brought them over. And I mean, when I look at those two little boys in her car, my heart broke to see those two little boys that they were left without their parents. And as he said, I was the one who was able to help to get them being adopted by a man of very little means. And I promised her that I would assist in every possible way. And I'm grateful today to say that Alfred and his brother Steve, they grew up, that man and that woman who took them, they had no children. They were childless. And they took them as their children. They took them to church. They sent them to school and Sunday school. And those two boys grew up, and I could say they have made it for themselves without any remuneration or any help from the government. The PAM and NRP government went in 1980, and of course, they didn't meet things good when they went in. And so they had to straighten out things. The Labour government was in for 20 years, and nothing was being done. This government is now in for 5 years. And sometimes when I hear people pressuring them, this want to be done, that should be done, and right now, give them a break. They will do things. I'm glad that this thing has come up 50 years, and it's something needs to be done. But give them time, and especially with this coronavirus, we know that the economy has something to do with it. So please be patient, and thanks for all who are coming in with their suggestions and everything. And we remember those who have lost their lives. And I want to say to that person calling about Shermel Mulrain, she's a friend of mine, and yes, she is alive in Washington, D.C. Thank God. I have a son, my stepson. He was on the boat, and he said before the boat turned off, he realized that it was too many people, and he jumped off. He's in Canada, Leo. And so we thank God for those who are alive, and for those who have passed on. We pray that their souls are resting in peace. That is my thing for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matron. Always very poignant with your interventions. Patches, we are still inquiring why Ken Richards was fired from Win FM. Bacchus is very silent on the matter. I have heard something and it does not sound good on Richards' part, but I will not elaborate further as to why at this stage. If Bacchus fails to tell us the reasons, then I have no other choice but say what I hear, and will not be in WinFM's best interest. So Bacchus, I know you think you are smart and believe you can fool us, but not this time. Reads this email. This other email reads, you know, Patches, this matter with Ken Richards, let me say, like Dwyer, will not be going away anytime soon. That was Dwyer's mantra when he was on Patches back with Richards and others every week on radio, with their Dempsey and hearsay to bring him down, but it backfired, and now Dwyer has gone into oblivion. Reads this other email. This email reads, Mr. Liburd, please correct me if I'm wrong. I have been researching the internet trying to find another island in the Caribbean whose opposition party filed petitions for re-election like the Labour Party in St. Kitts has done, and I could not find any results for my search. I have heard of by-elections being held, but I have never heard of a re-election for the losing constituencies. I am curious to find out about it. But about if it has ever been done, beg your pardon. If so, which island or islands, and when was it done? Wasn't Nevis a part of the June 5th general elections? I noticed they did not file petitions for constituencies 9, 10, and 11. Won't it be fair to include constituency 1 and 6? After all, it's supposed to be a re-election. I do hope and trust that St. Kitts will not make history tomorrow by being the first island in the Caribbean to have a re-election just a few weeks or months after a general election. Thanks and best wishes tomorrow. Reads this email. This other email reads, Patches, praise the Lord for saving our federation from that storm. Mr. Liburd, there's an old saying, when you lay down with dogs, you wake up with you know what. He used to be called Sheriff. He is now attempting to extort our federation. Douglas so far has 2, he has 3, there is 11. The time has come for Timothy to call him and read the Riot Act to him, put him in his place. St. Kitts losing more money than Nevis. My brother, keep on keeping on. The next sitting of Parliament, you will be there. Good night and God bless. Reads this email. This other email reads, Night Patches, I disagree with that caller. No more national heroes. I understand Livingston Sargent. Minnie Manchester's husband is also a survivor. Reads this email. This other email reads, get rid of all these emails. Patches, I want to send condolences to the family and friends and extension the Federation for the loss of Mr. Richard Keynes, a patriot. He served the country for decades in many ways. I was one of many young men and women benefited from his years of service to the country. Many have become entrepreneurs themselves at home and abroad. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Reads this email. This other email reads, Good night, Patches. I am so happy to hear this conversation tonight. It is very timely. Please join us at the National Museum, the Old Treasury Building, for an exhibition opening ceremony to mark the 50th anniversary of the Christina disaster on Saturday the 1st August at 3:30 p.m. I am inviting all of your callers, listeners, and friends to be present to our history, so don't hear about but be part of it. We want to hear the story. Please come and share it with us as we make the first step. And there's an attached flyer here. Yes, there is a museum. Sorry, there is a official opening at the National Museum, the Old Treasury Building, on Saturday the 1st August 2020 at 3:30 p.m. And the open hours before this is Monday to Thursday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And again, that's tomorrow. Beg your pardon, that's on Saturday. Saturday, an exhibition, the opening ceremony for an exhibition to mark the 50th anniversary of the Christina disaster this coming Saturday at 3:30 p.m. So put that into the records. Caller, you're live at 12 before 10. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Hello?
Yes, you're live.
Yeah, is this Patty show?
Yes, but just turn your radio down. You are live.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, I'm a survivor in the Christian disaster.
Yeah.
And I hear everybody talking about out in the ocean, but they're not saying that 20 minutes after the boat leave the pier, it leaned on the side, and people were screaming. It happens to get back and travel over to where it sank in the channel. It's a it was a real disaster, and it still haunts me up to now. 50 years, it still haunting me. I'm I don't live in St. Kitts, I live overseas. But my goal was to come home on the 50th anniversary to take part in whatever was going on. And so, unfortunately, it can't happen. So I give my condolences to all the survivors in St. Kitts and Nevis. And I hope everything goes well. About the ornament, I think it should be right there by the pier, where the boat is from the treasury, right in front of either MoneyGram or by Rock. I think that's the ideal place to put it.
Okay, you're from St. Kitts?
Yeah, I'm from St. Kitts.
Okay, so you
You know me.
Okay, so you actually went on the boat that day, you said?
Yes, I was on the boat, and I mean, the boat actually have a lot of people in it, and I came off.
Okay.
And when the boat started its engine, I jumped back on.
So you actually...
So, I remember...
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I remember. Yes, yeah, and Puntin was next to me. I just was about to give him my money. And when this whole thing, and as the boat leaned, everybody was in the water, most people.
You swam?
So if the boat has to come back up, no, you'd have to stop to pick up everybody out the water. Because the boat gave one sudden lean. It didn't give no kind of, say, well, I mean, it didn't give no, what to say?
They had no notice, right?
No warning.
No warning.
It didn't give no warning. It just happened, just like that.
Okay. And you swam?
No, huh?
You swam to shore?
No, I swam with a little boy, and I swam over to going to Nevis area, and I saw a little boat was coming, and I jumped out the water and I waved and I screamed, and he came and he picked me up and picked up the little boy. And Patches, I would like to, if anybody know who the little boy is today, I would like to find him, because he was about 9 years old at the time. And it was very touching, because he kept calling his mother's name and say she's not going to see him again, he's going to drown and everything. And the second thing, I mean, when the boat picked us up and we went back out to get people, I helped Livingston Sargent. He was on a box, a ricin box. And I helped him out the water onto the boat.
Okay.
So,
well,
sorry I can't be home, but as soon as the borders open, I'll be there.
I look forward to that, my dear brother. Trust we can have a chat about that when you come. God's willing.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll see who it is when they come, because you know me well.
I look forward to that. I try to recognize the voice, but I look forward to meeting you, though. Okay?
All right.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that input. We go straight back to the lines. I'll call you live. Hello, caller.
Honorable Patches Liburd.
Your humble servant, sir.
Good evening to you, sir.
How are you?
I'm glad that I was able to get in on your program. Now, Honorable Patches Liburd, and also to all your listeners, on the Christina matter, it is important to consider the warnings of the captain to the then government officials in charge at the time of the Christina trying to get across to Nevis, by letting them know that the boat was too overloaded to make the journey from St. Kitts. Why did these people in authority did not take what the captain said seriously? They are responsible for the tragedy, you know. I'll tell you this. I lived in the country, and I was asked by a young lady to give her, to drive her on that day to Bastille so that she can go to Nevis. And when I got there, I heard a young jam down, sorry to use that expression, commenting and saying, boy, if that boat reached Nevis today, well. And so I said to the young lady, I said, listen, that little chap is telling us the truth. Look at the vote. So I would advise that we go back home. She started crying, but I said I would not allow you to go on that vote under the conditions. And then I told her to come and take my vehicle, and we went back home. And during the night, I listened to hear the story about the disaster. And I have to thank the Lord for giving me the wisdom not to allow that lady to take the journey. And so I'm saying this. This is something that we as a society and as a nation must always be on our alert to stop things going contrary to the norms and do the right things. So we must be ashamed of ourselves to allow that to happen. Thank you, Mr. Patches Liburd.
Thanks
Honorable
for your input, my dear Mr. Welch from down in Challengers, telling his story about that fateful day in August 1970, Saturday the 1st to be exact. Mr. Liburd, what is going on with Doug's election petition case that is slated for tomorrow? It appears to me that lawyer Jason Hamilton realized that his clients Congress and Drew have no tangible evidence against Akila and Eugene Hamilton, respectively, to proceed with in court. And as a result, he is requesting the court to withdraw these frivolous and ridiculous charges before he comes up for trial. Nevertheless, Jason is still looking out for his legal costs from Congress and Drew. Since Austin Edinburgh think he's a better lawyer than Jason, why don't he take over the cases and fight them in court instead of getting exasperated with Jason? Reads this email. Other email reads, my brother Dunta did a drawing on the boat. Reads this email. And this other email, hi Patches. Good night. I'd like you to enlighten me regarding the letter which concerns Ken Richards that should read. I've been hearing so many persons speaking about a letter written on Ken Richards who works or worked at WinFM. I would be pleased if you can tell me all about this letter or what this letter is all about, as I would like to hear it from the horse's mouth. I know your case would be heard tomorrow if life permits, and I hope that we will hear good news, because I can tell you good things come to those who wait. Perhaps you would have to get more than one telephone because it is very difficult to get through to you and your show. Please give this your kind consideration and discuss it with the management of ZIZ. Please remember that your case is tomorrow if life permits, and as the good Lord is on your side. Reads this other email. As we wind down tonight's program, I'm going to take perhaps two more calls. Caller, okay, I missed that call. I'll perhaps take two more calls. And tonight we looked at the Christina disaster, and tomorrow on Saturday it's the 50th anniversary. Recall that vessel went down exactly 50 years ago on the 1st of August 1970, when some 233 persons, mostly divisions, lost their lives, and what turned out to be the last voyage of the Christina from Basseterre to Charlestown, and perhaps the worst maritime disaster, I should say, ever in the Caribbean. The worst, I should say. Caller, you live. Caller?
Good evening, Servant Minister.
My dear brother.
Ian Patches Liburd, how are you doing? I'm speaking prophetically.
I am peace.
Tomorrow is your case. I'm speaking here prophetically. How are you doing? I know time is of the essence, but before you answer me, don't let me neglect the people I have grown to love and the people who have accepted me as a part of a body that remains consistently an advocate, a collective advocate for peace, for justice, for truth, and for equality. Good evening, everybody out there in Radio Land. Servant Minister Ian Patches Liburd, you may answer me now. I know time is of the essence.
I am peaceful, my brother. I'm peaceful. I'm at peace with my God. I'm at peace with myself, and I'm at peace with the world.
Well, what does the Lord require of thee? But is to do justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly before thy God. To do justly, I can think of no other minister in the reign of the team unity, government's ascendancy that did more justly than you quietly. If you didn't have to announce your half a salary, you would still have done it. But you see, you are a politician, and you are also moved by prerogatives and exigencies. But you just love people, and to love mercy every time you help the poor by giving a half of your salary back. That is loving mercy, and to walk humbly before thy God. One little boy hearing a pastor preach that nudged his mother and said, "But that last one should be easy, Ma. If we really knew who God is." Man, in closing, they said a supernova exploded somewhere out there in the stratosphere. Okay. And traveling at the speed of light, it took us 168,000 miles before we experience the flash. And there is a God in control of all of this. It is so vast. The human body is so complex.
Okay.
All I know is in control of all of this. And in closing, I got to tell you that for tomorrow, that same God is also in control of your affairs. And because of that, my heart is at rest. I'm expectant, and I'm going to save my exuberant shout until we get back that grand finale. I'm looking forward to it. Now, you get home safely. Don't let anything happen to you. You got a lot more mileage in you. And we, as well as the judiciary, would make sure that that type of talent in saying it does not go untapped. God bless you. Have a great one, and good night.
Good night, my dear brother. Thank you, and God bless you as well. I have the lines lit up. I'm tempted to take these two calls, but caller, I'm gonna have to guide you by the rules of brevity. Can you use 15 seconds?
Yes, this is Alva Pemberton.
Alva.
I just called to endorse what Ms. Garnett said. Ms. Garnett, I fully agree with her 100%. All right. Quite obviously, all the governments over the previous years haven't done anything, but yet still they want team unity, who just there for 5 years, to be doing miracle in that respect. Anyway, let me digress a little, and let me just want to wish you all the best for tomorrow, and may God bless you. And I know that nobody can get your blessing. The Prime Minister wants you in his cabinet, and I want to see you there as well. Good night.
Good night, my dear brother. I look forward to be in there shortly. Perhaps that's the way we're going to end it tonight. My Straight Talk family, my time is done, and I've got to run. I have to make room for the mayor from St. Paul's, Theo Clark. The lines are going, but surely I got to run. We discussed the issue of the Christina disaster, I was corrected, and when I mentioned, my memory served me well. But the Christina was actually replaced by the MV Barfish, then the MV Rosal, then the MV La Amiga. That was subsequently replaced by the MV Caribbean Queen until government privatized the ferry operations in 2003 or 2004. And there are many vessels now plying between St. Kitts and Nevis. Many boats. You can think of the Mark Twain, you can think of the MV Patience, the Carib Express, the next edition, Apple Cider, the MVC Hustler, and don't forget the Sea Bridge as well, that go underwater taxis that go between St. Kitts and Nevis. But so connections have improved, the maritime regulations have been well supervised, so we don't anticipate we'll ever have a Christina disaster again. But my Straight Talk family, as we wrap up, I want to say that we at Straight Talk will continue to pray for those survivors, and we will preserve the solemn memory of those who perished in the Christina disaster on August the 1st, Saturday, August the 1st, 1970, 50 years ago. And we do pray that their souls may continue to rest in peace. As I make my exit, beg your pardon, I want to thank God for guiding this conversation tonight, and as always, I want to thank the many callers who some couldn't get in. I do apologize for that. Don't know what to say. Some people get in 2 and 3 times. But for those who called, those who sent emails, for those of you on social media, Facebook, YouTube, and other social media, and of course on radio, here, ZIZ Radio, Bevin Wilkinson, my dear brother and producer, and all those who have listened tonight, remember, you're the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason I say a big thank you. I am Ian Patches Liburd, and God's spare. We will connect on Monday. Yes, Monday. We come back here on Monday. We celebrate Emancipation Day on that day, so we come back here on Monday and have another discussion, and I can assure it would be interesting, God's willing. But until we connect, remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But you first got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Dog family keep moving on. The High Court resumes tomorrow to deal with the election petitions. We all pray to Almighty God. He is the absolute judge. He sets up and He puts down. So God is the one in charge, and He's large. Until we connect, my Straight Dog family, keep moving on. Bye-bye.
Taking me safely through the night. For the rest of food